If you only can hire the black people for the black movie, are you saying they're not good enough when you have a mostly white cast? That's more racist than anything else.
Anthony Mackie's latest comments have spilled the tea on what he sees as some sketchy stuff going on behind the scenes at Marvel. He's sounding the alarm about what he perceives as racial bias in the studio's hiring practices, and it's got the industry buzzing, especially for up-and-coming black actors. The actor, known for his roles in Marvel movies, has been explicit about the lack of diversity among the staff involved in these productions. In an interview with actor Davy Diggs on Variety's Actors on Actors series, Mackie candidly reflected on his extensive journey with Marvel, having contributed to 7 movies within the franchise. What stood out for him was the glaring absence of diversity in key production roles.
I've done 7 Marvel movies now. Every producer, every director, every stunt person, every costume designer, every PA has been white.
This observation raises questions about the inclusivity of Marvel's hiring practices and the representation of diverse voices in key roles behind the scenes. In the candid discussion, Mackie pointed out the discrepancy in the racial makeup of the crew, raising important questions about representation and inclusivity in the film industry. He highlighted the irony of Marvel's approach, noting that while working on mainstream Marvel movies with mostly white casts, the crew remained predominantly white. However, when it came to the production of Black Panther, a film centered around black characters, there was a noticeable shift with key positions being filled by black individuals. Mackie finds this selective hiring problematic, expressing his view that exclusively hiring black talent for a black-themed movie sends the message that they are only deemed suitable for projects of a certain nature. This raises concerns about tokenism and whether the industry is truly committed to providing equal opportunities for actors and crew members of all backgrounds. The actors' call for Marvel to hire the best person for the job, regardless of their race or background, echoes a broader conversation about the need for diversity and inclusion in Hollywood. "My big push with Marvel is hire the best person for the job," Mackie said in his Variety interview. "Even if it means we're going to get the best 2 women, we're going to get the best 2 men. Fine, I'm cool with those numbers for the next 10 years, because it starts to build a new generation of people who can put something on their resume to get them other jobs. If we've got to divvy out as a percentage, divvy it out, and that's something as leading men that we can go in and push for." Mackie's candid remarks about Marvel's hiring practices echoed broader discussions within the entertainment industry about the need for increased diversity and inclusion. The actor called for a change in mindset, urging Marvel and other industry players to hire the best person for the job, irrespective of their race or background. This approach, according to Mackie, would not only address concerns of tokenism, but also contribute to building a new generation of talent with diverse experiences.
My big push with Marvel, with everybody, is, hire the best person for the job.
Mackie's emphasis on the power of actors like himself and Diggs to ask questions and advocate for change within the industry underscores the importance of those with influence using their platform to address systemic issues. It's important to note that Mackie's comments come against the backdrop of broader criticism of Marvel for its treatment of black actors. The mention of a recent Marvel movie where a white actor seemingly outshines their black co-actors adds another layer to the ongoing conversation about representation and equality within the Marvel Cinematic Universe. As Mackie continues to speak out on these issues, his insights shed light on the complexities and challenges faced by black actors in the industry. So, as the scrutiny continues, it's evident that Marvel's commitment to diversity has faced skepticism. For instance, The Marvels, with its trio of female leads, Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, Iman Vellani as Miss Marvel, and Teyonah Parris as Monica Rambeau, aims to rekindle the fading supernova. However, a closer look reveals a concerning trend where white actors outshine their black counterparts, adding to the growing conversation about racial disparities in the Marvel universe. The underlying premise of The Marvels highlights the intricate continuity within the modern MCU, shedding light on how Marvel tends to amplify the prominence of white actors over their black counterparts. The 3 female leads emerge from distinct projects. Brie Larson's Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, debuted in her eponymous 2019 film. Iman Vellani's Miss Marvel, Kamala Khan, originated from her Disney Plus series last year, and Teyonah Parris's Monica Rambeau garnered attention as the breakout star of WandaVision. Notably, Monica stands alone without a superhero nickname or her own MCU entry, exposing a pattern where white characters like Carol take center stage, leaving characters of color, such as Monica, in a weaker position. The film attempts to downplay these discrepancies, but the undeniable truth remains. Monica emerges as the weakest link in this trio. Meanwhile, Carol, portrayed by Brie Larson, is criticized for her relatively bland portrayal as the centerpiece. This exemplifies a recurring trend in Marvel's productions, where white actors overshadow their black counterparts, contributing to an inequitable representation within the cinematic universe. Critics argue that the studio's track record, especially in its earlier phases, was marked by a lack of representation both on-screen and in key creative roles. The Marvel Cinematic Universe's initial focus on white male characters and the delayed introduction of major female and black characters underscore the industry's historic resistance to embracing diversity. Marvel's attempts to diversify its on-screen superheroes were not always well received, with instances of whitewashing and reinforcing racial stereotypes. The controversies surrounding the casting of Tilda Swinton as the Ancient One in Doctor Strange and the portrayal of Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy Vol. 2 Inches raised questions about the studio's sensitivity to cultural representation. The call for accountability extends beyond on-screen representation to behind-the-scenes decision-making. The lack of diversity among directors and writers in the earlier phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe has been noted, with the studio now facing pressure to address these issues more proactively. Critics argue that while Marvel has announced plans for more diverse projects, the progress has been incremental, and the studio must do more to rectify its historical inequities. In response to recent global events, Marvel released a statement expressing solidarity with the Black community and condemning racism. However, many critics see this as performative, emphasizing that tangible actions, rather than statements, are needed to address the deep-rooted issues of inequality within the studio. Marvel's history of inequity, as highlighted by critics, paints a concerning picture. Despite the success of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the underrepresentation of people of color, especially Black creators, actors, and employees, remains a persistent problem. The call for internal change and accountability within Marvel reflects a broader industry-wide conversation about dismantling systemic biases and fostering a more inclusive and representative entertainment landscape. As the discussion around racial diversity and inclusion in Hollywood intensifies, the spotlight on Marvel's practices underscores the industry's collective responsibility to address these issues comprehensively. The call for change is not just about individual studios, but about challenging the systemic barriers that have limited opportunities for diverse voices within the entertainment industry. The criticisms of Marvel Studios' approach to diversity, particularly in its earlier phases, highlight significant issues in the portrayal and treatment of Black actors and characters. Anthony Mackie's comments about the predominantly white crew in the 7 Marvel projects he participated in raise questions about the studio's commitment to diversity, both on and off screen. Mackie's observation that Black Panther, a film with a predominantly Black cast and crew, might be perceived as more racist due to its isolated approach to hiring for a Black-themed movie, underscores the inconsistency in Marvel's practices. While the studio has taken steps to diversify its upcoming projects, the historical lack of representation and inclusion is a glaring problem that needs to be addressed. Marvel has also had past missteps in handling characters of color. In its early phases, the MCU focused largely on white characters, relegating Black characters like Sam Wilson and James Rhodes to supporting roles. The delayed introduction of Black Widow's standalone film also raises concerns about the studio's commitment to gender diversity. Moreover, the controversy surrounding the whitewashing of characters, such as the Ancient One in Doctor Strange, and the portrayal of Black actors as aliens in Guardians of the Galaxy, adds fuel to the fire. The article rightly questions why actors of color are often cast to play non-human characters, reinforcing harmful stereotypes. The portrayal of Black characters as victims, as seen in Captain America: Civil War, and the overall lack of representation in the early phases of the MCU are highlighted as problematic. Black Panther, although a significant step forward, is noted as an exception rather than the norm. In any case, Mackie is not the only one who has addressed Marvel's alleged lack of diversity. Jessica Alba, renowned actress and entrepreneur, also voiced her concerns about the ongoing lack of diversity within the Marvel franchise. In an interview with Glamour UK, Alba expressed her viewpoint on the prevailing issue, emphasizing that even in the realm of Marvel movies, a dominant force in contemporary entertainment, the representation remains predominantly Caucasian. Alba, of Latina heritage, played the role of Susan Storm in the 2005 film Fantastic Four and its 2007 sequel, Rise of the Silver Surfer, both distributed by 20th Century Fox before the merger with Disney. Reflecting on her experiences, she remarked, "Even if you look at the Marvel movies, that's the biggest driver of fantasy and what's happening right now in entertainment, because it's sort of the family thing. It's still quite Caucasian." Alba's candid observation points to a persisting issue within one of the most influential franchises in the cinematic landscape. The actress, who had to navigate the industry's struggle to categorize her based on her heritage, has been an advocate for greater diversity long before it became a mainstream discussion. In a 2017 interview with Pop Sugar, she recounted the challenges she faced, stating, "They couldn't figure out my ethnicity. I would always go out for exotic. They were like, you're not Latin enough to play a Latina, and you're not Caucasian enough to play the leading lady, so you're going to be the exotic one," whatever that was. Despite the progress Marvel Studios has made in recent years to diversify its offerings, with characters like the Falcon taking up the mantle of Captain America and the introduction of Shang-Chi, an Asian American superhero, Alba believes there is still much work to be done. She remains steadfast in her conviction that the entertainment industry, and particularly franchises as influential as Marvel, must strive for more authentic representation. In her Glamour UK interview, Alba articulated that her advocacy for greater diversity stems from a desire to provide younger generations with characters they can relate to and see themselves in. She highlighted the importance of shaping the dreams and narratives that young individuals consume, noting, "I just think more for the younger people who are coming up, who are going to be our future leaders, it's important for them to see the world on screen, or in stories, in the dreams that we create as entertainers. It reflects the world that they're in." Marvel's evolution towards more inclusive storytelling has undoubtedly marked a positive shift in the industry. Characters like Shang-Chi and the casting of Latino actor Oscar Isaac as Moon Knight represent steps in the right direction. However, Alba's critique suggests that there is still a substantial gap between the current state of diversity within the Marvel franchise and the level of representation needed to authentically mirror the world's rich tapestry. The discussion sparked by Alba's comments extends beyond a specific franchise. It raises questions about the broader industry's responsibility to accurately represent the diverse spectrum of backgrounds that make up its audience. As if that's not bad enough, Marvel's foray into diversifying its superhero lineup has been marked by a peculiar and somewhat problematic pattern. The tendency to replace white stars with black stars, only to bring back the white stars to share the role with their black counterparts. While the studio's efforts to introduce fresh and diverse characters like Miles Morales, Kamala Khan, and Amadeus Cho have been commendable, the execution of these changes raises critical questions about the impact on the authenticity and resonance of these characters within the Marvel Universe. The introduction of Miles Morales as the Ultimate Universe's new Spider-Man brought a breath of fresh air to the Spider-Man mythos. His popularity soared, leading to his migration to the 616 main universe. However, Marvel's misstep becomes glaring when we consider that in this main universe, Peter Parker, the original Spider-Man, is very much alive. Miles, who made a significant impact in a universe mourning the death of Peter Parker, now finds himself sharing the Spider-Man mantle with a character who has been a fan favorite for over 6 decades. This shared identity dilutes the uniqueness and impact that Miles had in the Ultimate Universe, leaving fans to grapple with the coexistence of 2 Spider-Men, each with their own extensive history and legacy. The situation echoes with Amadeus Cho's portrayal as the new Hulk. In a universe where Bruce Banner, the original Hulk, is still very much part of the narrative, Cho's significance is diminished. The emotional weight and gravitas associated with the Hulk are diffused when the original Hulk, Banner, continues to exist alongside Cho. The intended passing of the torch to a new character loses its potency when the iconic figure that the new hero is meant to succeed is still an active and integral part of the Marvel Universe. Kamala Khan, taking up the mantle of Miss Marvel, presents a somewhat unique case. Her powers are distinct from those of the original Miss Marvel, Carol Danvers. Yet even here, the challenge lies in the coexistence of the old and the new. While Kamala's character stands on her own with a unique set of abilities, the presence of Carol Danvers in the same universe complicates the narrative of succession. The notion of these new characters seamlessly taking over from their predecessors is undermined when the originals, in various states of life and death, persist within the Marvel narrative. The fundamental issue lies in Marvel's presentation of these new characters as successors who inherit the superhero legacy from their predecessors. This traditional passing of the torch narrative loses its impact when the original heroes are not retired or replaced, but continue to share the stage with their supposed successors. The coexistence of old and new within the same universe creates a narrative dissonance that challenges the credibility of the storytelling. This pattern not only affects the narrative integrity of individual characters, but also raises broader questions about Marvel's approach to diversity. While the studio deserves credit for introducing characters from diverse backgrounds, the recycling of original characters alongside their replacements implies a lack of commitment to allowing these new heroes to stand independently and shape their own destinies. Additionally, Miles Morales' Spider-Man comic, which was written by Yehudi Mercado, faced a lot of backlash last year over racial stereotypes. Morales was first introduced in the comics in 2011 as a teenage half-black, half-Puerto Rican Spider-Man. Since then, the character has grown in popularity with appearances in other media, including the animated movie Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse and PlayStation's Spider-Man video games. Some readers took to Twitter to criticize Mercado's comic for depicting racial stereotypes, including calling Thor's homeworld of Asgard the Hood, and depicting his hammer Mjolnir with graffiti on it. This is the only issue in the What If? Miles Morales series not written by a black author, one person on Twitter wrote. It's also the only one that leans on racist tropes. I bet there's a connection. The comic book writer apologized after a story he wrote faced online backlash from fans over racial stereotypes. The writer Yehudi Mercado wrote the latest issue of the Marvel series What If? Miles Morales, which was drawn by the artists Luigi Zagaria and Paco Medina, and envisioned an alternate universe where Morales became Thor. While I've lived a different experience through my own Jewish and Mexican background, I still know inauthenticity hurts, and I'm sorry this failed on that front, Mercado wrote in a statement on Twitter on Wednesday. I've appreciated hearing from my Black and Puerto Rican comics peers and hope to use this moment to help promote better authenticity. Mercado also said that he would donate his pay from Marvel to the Brooklyn Book Bodega charity, which aims to provide books to youth in New York City. In any case, Marvel, the powerhouse behind some of the most iconic superheroes in popular culture, has faced persistent criticism for its inability to achieve genuine racial diversity within its cinematic universe. While the studio has made strides in introducing new characters from underrepresented backgrounds, the lack of diversity among the main popular characters remains a glaring issue. According to a 2018 study by Forbes, over 61% of actors in the Marvel Universe are white, and this number increases to a staggering 69% when focusing solely on main characters. In stark contrast, the study found that only 20% of characters in the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe are of African descent, with 5% being East Asian and 0% Indigenous. These numbers underscore a significant gap in representation, indicating that Marvel has yet to put in sufficient effort to rectify the imbalance. The iconic roles of Iron Man, Spider-Man, and Thor, which have been historically portrayed by white actors, continue to elude actors from racialized backgrounds. This lack of representation raises questions about the potential impact on aspiring individuals who do not see themselves reflected in these superhero personas. If these major characters were played by underrepresented groups, it could serve as a source of inspiration for children who share similar backgrounds, fostering the belief that they too can achieve their dreams on a grand scale. While Marvel has introduced new characters like Kamala Khan, a Pakistani American with shape-shifting abilities, and released the groundbreaking Black Panther franchise, the overall impact on racial equity within the Marvel Universe is still in question. Excluding Black Panther as a main character drops the percentage of African Americans in the Marvel Universe to a mere 11%, highlighting a failure to diversify the most popular and recognizable characters in the franchise. Despite Marvel's commitment to diversification to connect with a global audience, genuine progress remains elusive. The introduction of characters like Kamala Khan is a positive step, particularly for individuals who find representation in her narrative. For minorities, the excitement for a character breaking stereotypes and addressing cultural norms is significant. However, the creation of such characters alone does not achieve true racial equity. The skepticism about Marvel's commitment to diversity is further fueled by critiques who argue that Marvel's diversity claims are a myth, accusing movies like Doctor Strange of cultural appropriation and perpetuating American Orientalism. It raises the question of whether Marvel's efforts at diversification are genuine or merely a facade to present a rosy image of inclusivity. While acknowledging Marvel's attempts to diversify, the critique lies in the execution of these efforts. Introducing new major characters from visible minorities is a commendable start, but it falls short of addressing the core issue of lack of diversity among the franchise's mainstays. The true test of Marvel's commitment to racial equity will be when huge characters like Thor are portrayed by actors who are not white. Marvel stands at a crossroads, torn between its past mistakes and the need for progressive change. To move forward authentically, the studio must not only continue introducing diverse characters, but also rectify inappropriate tendencies in their movies. Apologizing for potential offensive scenes and content, especially regarding cultural appropriation, is a crucial step towards genuine reconciliation with underrepresented communities. In any case, Marvel's journey toward true racial equity is an ongoing process that requires more than just token gestures. While the introduction of new characters is commendable, it falls short of addressing the core issue of diversity among the franchise's most iconic figures. Marvel's commitment to inclusivity must extend beyond surface-level changes, ensuring that the heroes who dominate the cinematic landscape truly reflect the diverse world we live in. Anyway, that's it for this video, folks. Bye.